Hello guys, how are you?
I'm Hardeep Singh. Welcome back to your own YouTube channel. IELTS updates and recent exams. For more updates related to recent IELTS exam writing test topics, listening, reading, practice test, and speaking, you got guesswork. Please, guys, participate in everyday listening and reading practice test to achieve your desired band score in your actual IELTS exam. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Press the bell icon for the upcoming notifications. Don't forget like, subscribe and share my YouTube channel and my Facebook page, IELTS updates and recent exams.
Part 1.
You will hear a series of telephone conversations between an overseas student and some people involved in turn. He wants to confirm some information for an international conference on computing technology. First, you will have some time to look at questions. Now listen carefully and answer question.
New South Wales University, good morning.
Oh, good morning. Can you put me through to the School of Computing Technology, please?
Certainly. School of Computing Technology, Professor Dorfman's office.
Oh, good morning. I was wondering if you could give me some information about the forthcoming Computing Technology 25th Conference. Dates, enrolment procedures, cost, that sort of thing.
Certainly.
When exactly is the conference?
Well, the conference runs for 4 days from the 15th to the 18th of September.
15th to 18th September. Oh, good. I'll still be here then, and, where exactly is it being held? Is it at the university as in previous years?
No, it's actually being held at the Pacific Hotel. We've rather outgrown the university conference facilities, so we've opted for this new venue.
Right, Paradise Hotel.
No, Pacific Hotel.
Oh, right. And presumably we can get accommodation at the hotel.
Yes, but you'll need to contact them directly to arrange that. I'll give you the number for hotel reservations. Have you got a pen ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's area code 07 and then 9444 1233.
079 444 1233. And what's the registration fee?
Individual fees are $360 for the 4 days or $100 a day if you only wanted to attend for 1 day.
Are there any student concessions?
Oh, sure. There's a 50% concession for students, and that's $180 for the 4 days or $50 a day.
And am I too late to offer to give a talk?
Oh, I'm pretty sure you've missed the deadline for that.
Oh, really? But I've only just arrived here in Australia. Is there any way I could have a paper accepted?
Well, you'd need to talk to Professor Dorfman. He's the person organising the conference this year. I can put you through if you'd like.
Oh, yes, please. That'd be great. Oh, and can I just check the spelling of his name? Is that Dorfman?
Yes, that's correct.
Before the conversation continues, you will have another chance to look at questions. Listen carefully and answer questions Professor Dorfman speaking. Oh, hello. My name's John Helston. I'm a computing technology student at London University. I'm here in Australia for 3 months, looking at educational application of computing and information technology. Right. I'm interested in giving a talk on my research at the conference, but I believe I may have missed the deadline. Well, strictly speaking, you have. The closing date was last Friday. Oh no! But we may be able to include your paper if it fits into our program. But you'll have to be quick. OK, what do I need to do? Send me an outline of your talk and make sure you include an interesting title for the talk, something to attract the delegates' attention. OK, interesting title, right. The outline should be no more than 300 words though. Right, I should be able to keep it down to 300 words, but would 400 be OK? No, not really, because we have to print it in the proceedings and we just don't have the space. Sure, I understand. And also, can you send me a short CV? The usual stuff, name, age, qualifications, that sort of thing. Right, include a brief CV. Actually, you can email it to me. That'd be quicker. Sure, what's your email address? Well, the best thing would be to send it to the Conference Administrative Officer. The address is admin in lowercase, you know, in small letters. Right. So, that's admin at anuconf.edu.au. Right, I'll do that straight away. Thank you very much. You've been very helpful. OK, well, we hope to see you in October then.
That is the end of part 1.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 2.
You will hear a guide talk about cooking ginger on the radio broadcast. As you listen, answer questions 11 to 20. Now listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 14. Hello and welcome to Cooking Corners. And this week we're looking at the most versatile and aromatic of plants. A fairly recent addition to the list of Australian agricultural produce, but nevertheless a great favourite today, ginger. And in the studio to tell us all about it is Jennifer Johnson.
Ginger is one of my personal favourite spices, and I've got a number of wonderful recipes to share with you later on in the programme. So, what is ginger? Well, actually, it's a spicy-tasting root with an aromatic flavour. It's related to the bamboo family and has 100 different uses in the kitchen. The Chinese have cultivated it for years, particularly to use in medicine, though you are probably more familiar with its culinary uses. But first, let's take a brief look at its history before we look at how it can be used, because it has a very interesting history. Ginger originated in the southern provinces of China and in India, where it had been used in medicine and food for over 5,000 years. The early traders who came upon the plant took it to many parts of the world, such as Nigeria, the West Indies, Central America, East Africa, and even Indonesia. Ginger became extremely popular because of its exotic aromatic properties and was highly valued by spice traders in the 17th and 18th centuries because they were able to sell it back in Europe for a very good price. Although Australia is now the largest producer of ginger in the world, it wasn't grown in Australia until the early 20th century.
Before Jennifer goes on to explain the history of ginger planting in Australia, you will have another chance to look at questions 15 to 20. Now listen to the rest of the talk and answer questions 15 to 20.
Apparently, some pieces of raw ginger found their way to an area about 100 kilometres north of Brisbane in Queensland earlier this century. The comparatively high rainfall and humidity in this area produced conditions which are perfect for growing ginger, so it became well established. But in the early days, the relatively high cost of production placed it as a disadvantage in the market by comparison with the much cheaper ginger produced by other countries with lower production costs. Then, in 1941, the supply of ginger to Australia started to run out. Remember, this was in the middle of the Second World War, when everything was in short supply. This provided a perfect opportunity for the Queensland growers to expand their production and sales. 5 local farmers got together and formed a cooperative association in a place called Buderim. They started with only £25 between them. That was in the days when Australian currency was pounds, not dollars. So they set up the company with 2 wooden vats and 14 tons of raw ginger. But they went on to become the most successful ginger farmers in the world. In fact, nearly all the world's ginger now comes from the Buderim ginger factory in Queensland. 40% of the production is used in Australia, and the remaining 60% is exported overseas to places like Europe, North America, South Africa, and even to Asia, where it originated in the first place. So now, let's move on to look at ways of using ginger in the kitchen.
The end of part 2.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 3.
In this section, you are going to hear a conversation. Before you listen, please look at questions 21 to 30. Now listen to the conversation and answer questions 21 to 30. Welcome to the new term. Hope you've had a good time in your vacation. Maybe you're looking forward to writing your dissertation. Now, in this section, you have an opportunity to ask questions on writing the dissertation. Requirements, milestones, who to see when you're in need of help. It's very informal. It may be written on paper, but it's nice to get it confirmed. So, anything you'd like to ask?
Dr. Eric, is there a fixed hand-in date yet?
Yes, I will confirm that that's June 13th. OK, Tammy?
What about the word limit?
Well, we try to be pretty flexible on this, but in broad terms, it's 15,000 to 20,000.
Ah.
And you can choose your topics.
I still have no idea about it. Who?
Well, you should see your course tutor to agree on your final title, and you should also be aware that there's a special program running on research methods for anyone who wants some extra help on that.
Can I just check the deadlines for everything?
Yes, sure. Look, let me write it on the board when the different stages have to be completed. First of all, you've got to work on your basic bibliography, and that's due in to your course tutor by February 1st, which is just 2 weeks away, so you'd better confirm it.
Shall we have our own draft plan by then?
No, your draft plan is due on February the 13th, which is 2 weeks later, so that should give you plenty of time.
And when do we have to be doing the research?
That's over a 1 month period, essentially February to March.
And the write-up?
Well, you can't really start writing until you've got quite a bit of research done, so that's really March to May, with the hand-in on the 21st.
Before you hear the rest of the talk, you have some time to look at questions.
Any more questions?
Well, sir, just some advice really. It's about computers. Would you advise us to buy one?
What can I say, Karen? It's a massive expense, but I really feel that it will be of great benefit. You can always look in the Student Union Fellows for second-hand ones. Yes?
I've been looking at some of last year's dissertations. Is that a good idea, sir? I read...
Well, I don't think you should read them in detail too early, or you might end up taking more of their ideas than you realise. But yes, it really is the best guide you can have to the expectations of what's expected when you write a dissertation.
Sorry, Tammy, I interrupted you. That's okay. It's just that they did a lot of research using questionnaires. Is that a good idea?
I think questionnaires are very good at telling you how people feel in questionnaires. But to be frank, they tell you very little else. Avoid them.
About interviews. Is it okay if we interview you?
The tutors? I don't see why not. They don't have any special contribution to make, but you can, if you want. There's a whole section on this issue in the research guide. I'm afraid it's slightly out of date, and you're probably better talking to the tutors on the research methods course, but you might find it useful to start there.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, well, great. I hope that sorted a few things out. You can always come and see me or drop me a note if you've got any more queries.
Fine.
Okay, thanks.
That is the end of part 3.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 4.
We're going to hear a talk about some British customs.
First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40.
Good morning. My name is Marsha Smith, a counsellor here at the Student Services section of the university, and this morning I'd like to talk to you about visiting a British home. This may help you to cope well with your study and social life in Britain. There is a commonly quoted saying in Britain, "An Englishman's home is his castle," which sums up the importance we give to our own bit of private territory. If you are living in a British home, or are invited to visit or stay with someone, it is important to act thoughtfully. For example, be punctual for meals and, if you know you have to miss one, let your host know as soon as possible. Check whether it is convenient for others in the house when you wish to take a bath or wash and dry laundry. And unless your host employs someone to do the housework, you are expected to make your own bed and keep your room clean and tidy yourself. If you don't have a door key, remember to make arrangements if you intend to be out late, and keep your hosts informed of your whereabouts so they don't worry. These suggestions apply whether you're a guest or a lodger, and will help the household to run smoothly. If you're staying as a guest of a British family, or even visiting for one meal, it is customary to take a small gift of flowers, chocolates, or something to drink. Don't spend too much, as this could embarrass your hosts. If you're staying for several days as a guest, it is usual to give a small present when you leave. Usually, you will get onto first-name terms with people you meet quite naturally and quickly. If you're unsure, continue to use their family name, surname, and title until they ask you to use their first name. Older people, and those with whom you have a more formal relationship, may prefer to stick to surnames, for example, Dr. Smith or Mrs. Smith. If you're going to eat with British people or to stay with a British family, you may want to know if there are things that they normally do or don't do at the table. Rather than worry too much about rules, you may like to watch other people and copy what they do. It also helps to understand a few customs first. Both at home and in restaurants, people normally wait until everyone has got their food before they start eating. However, they will start before this if someone says, "Please don't wait," or "Don't let it get cold." When people have started, they keep their cutlery, knives, forks and spoons on the plate when they are not using them, and leave them on the plate when they finish the course. For each course, different cutlery is used. You may also notice that people don't usually spend much time at the table talking, drinking and smoking. In fact, after dinner at home, it's fairly common for everyone to leave the table together and have coffee in the living room. If you are staying with a family or visiting informally, it's usual to offer to help with household chores, for example, clearing the table and washing up the dishes after a meal. Even men are expected to offer, though you may not be accepted. At a more formal meal, however, the host won't normally expect guests to help with household chores.
That is the end of part 4.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
So guys, don't forget like, subscribe and share my YouTube channel and my Facebook page, IELTS updates and recent exams. For more updates related to recent IELTS exam writing test topics, listening, reading, practice test and speaking, you got guesswork. Please guys, participate in everyday new IELTS listening and reading practice tests to achieve your desired band score in your actual IELTS exam. For more IELTS material, visit my official website www.ieltsupdatesandrecentexams.com. The link is given below in the description. If you need PDF files of latest IELTS material, then please join my Telegram channel. So guys, please write your score below the comment section. Again, thanks for listening. God bless you all guys. Stay tuned, stay safe.